Morning traders, welcome to the daily webinar. This one would be on YouTube, so all my YouTube followers, if you like what you're getting, and if you, I think you do because you're watching it, please share it to more people, make sure they get it. Also about the group, because some traders have been asking, and I do get a lot of message, and about the upcoming course. There's an upcoming course that will be in February. If you want to join, you can join right now. The earlier, the better. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. You wouldn't have to pay anything else for the rest of your life. Now, if you cannot afford to pay the one-time payment, then I think a lot of you are in that situation, but you would like to get my daily webinar, which means a webinar that I do every single day, similar to this, but with more details. Send me a Skype message. I'll give you the details how you get that and how you can pay for, and you'll have to start paying for your course as an installment payment for the course, not for the webinars. The webinars you're going to get free. So with that said, here's my Skype message. All the details you post in Skype, type MANGAL 457. One more thing, a lot of you have been asking me about the group itself. I really don't know. The group is here. We meet 5-6 times a day. We trade. There are a lot of active traders, very successful traders in the group. I don't know if I have to show you the group for you to believe that or what you want, but that's the group we're in. I'm here every day. I'm in the group 3 or 4 times a day in the trading room, and the trading room just works even if I'm not there. If I'm not there for a month, it still works because there are enough very senior, very active, very successful traders who can do it. So if you want to join us, you get all of that for free. All of that will be for free and for lifetime. You can't pay for it. We're not going to ask you to pay for that because then you'll have to pay all those successful guys for the hours they're putting in the trading room, which I think you can't afford to do, especially if you're a struggling trader. So our job is to help you as a struggling trader, right? You're only paying a one-time fee for the course. That is not just for the materials of the course, but the time we will take to train you, because it's a training course. It's not just a video course. That's all you're paying for. The rest of it is free. You get to ask as many questions as you want to. So don't ask me if you can ask questions. I'm going to ask you if you have questions every single day. That's how I start all my sessions in the trading room. What questions do you have? All right, so let's go. Let's start. So dollar index. By the way, if you haven't seen my last week videos, you should watch them. They're amazing. You can see how we make forecasts, how we manage trades, and how we take them, how we manage them, and what we do with them. Right? So you can see that. And trade management is the #1 thing you should learn. If you want to be successful, you have to do that. By the way, that's a message I got from one of my traders today. That trading has changed for that person. I'm not going to say, because if I say him or her, you will know. Come closer. It's a girl, so it's her. Basically, I shouldn't have said that. That her trading has changed simply because we've started the trade management thing in the group, right? She's literally started becoming successful because of the trade management. It's in depth. Although these are very senior traders, she's a successful trader even before that, but that has changed a lot of, losing trades that you were losing has almost become less because of the way that we manage trades now. So let's go. Dollar index, still consolidating, still in this big sideways and still upside, right? So we broke the low. Now, the only question we have is the start of the week and the start of the year is whether this is going to break out now, or if this would still become part of something like this. See, one like this, one more up like this, and still make a new low. That's all you're going to ask, because this consolidation could go on for years. It doesn't matter how much patterns it makes inside and what the final pattern would be. Now, the down move is this one, from here to there. It's not quite impulsive. 1, 2, 3. This big flat in the middle it's rare. It could be possible, but it's rare that you see that when you have the first impulse looking so sharp. So we have to be aware that if this starts to consolidate here like this, then the possibility is we might not be going out of this structure so fast. We'll probably still be here and probably still stay here for a while before we go out. It's that, for the big picture, that is not a problem. We can still trade. We're still trading it last week, this week, every single day. There are still trades in it, because you don't trade the big move, you trade the smaller moves inside, right? So for today, dollar index really doesn't have any trade set up. We broke the top. We came down a little. We haven't broken this low, so we're still in here, which means there's a chance that even if you break the top again, you're coming back here. We might be making some kind of a bigger consolidation here. It could possibly even go deeper. because from what point this breaks down, can this can continue to do this for a while, drop here, go back up. It could stop right here and drop here and start to do this and then go back up. So there are many options of what could happen in here when you start to go sideways. Each one of them is tradable. The upside, there is no buy setup. The downside, yes, there is a sell setup. If we get the sell today, we will take it because the possibility for a sell setup is more likely than the possibility for a buy setup. So you don't have any one at the moment, you just have to wait. And that is all based on the hourly chart, right? So silver, we were selling this last week. If you look at the video Friday, you would have closed that trade, and now you can still sell, but you'd have to take it in a much lower time frame because they're making a lot of flats like this, these smaller flats. There's a flat, there's a sell setup here, and you would have to manage it differently. If it starts to do this, my traders know when you start to see that, you manage it differently, right? Could this be the first impulse down in a bigger correction? Possible. Could it be the start of the down move? We test the low here again. That is possible. So both of those options are possible because we're still in the sideways move. And that means you can repeat this. See this one, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and you can drop lower. It's not convincing that it's dropping lower as yet, but we will sell. It's a sell setup. So we actually have an active sell setup here now. It might turn into a channel in the 15 for my traders. Not everybody would understand what that means. So this might become a channel in the 15. We can still manage our way out of the channel for positive and wait for the bigger 1 hour flag to sell. But if you want to go for the sell, there's an active sell setup in it right now, right? Let's go. Gold. We were waiting for a buy here in gold. It didn't break out. They come back. It's still sideways, right? We're still going sideways. But if you take this out now, because that's not a buy, and with this coming up so slow like that, and 2 sharp moves here, you immediately start to think that this could become a flat of its own with the first impulse here. And then we'll probably get another impulse here. And then if we get something like this eventually, we're going to go back up one more. See? Pretty easy. Now, there are a number of sell setups. There's a sell setup that you could get here. You'll have to be careful because all they'll do is break the low. Better for us if this crawls up a little more and then drop. You might get a small 15-minute sell setup there for this if you want. Probably work towards a break even. There's a chance it could go back up. It's very likely going to go back up, and this might be a better sell. Because if you get a flat in the middle, you're going to get 1, 2, 3. And then we look for the buy. How long would all of this take? Maybe a day or two. So the buy might not be until, I don't know, maybe by Wednesday. We'll see. It's consolidating, and I think that consolidation will go on for a while, and then we're coming to break this top. Once we break that top, so by the end of this week, there's a good chance we would finish this consolidation, we would break the top, and we would reverse, come back all the way to the low. Now, the low might not come back in a single one because it's this move to the downside. So you got that, you got to pull back, you got that, you got to pull back. And this pullback alone is about 2 weeks, right? So you have to be very aware that even though it's going to break the top and come down, it's not going to come down that fast. In the daily, on the daily, this is more of a daily, big sideways movement. So first we want the buy. We want, you can trade within this range if you have the ability to do that. And then we want the buy. We wanted to break that up, and then we'll be looking for sells. All of that could happen by the end of this week. So where would gold be by the end of this week? Maybe right where we start here, after breaking the top and coming back up. So if I tell you I expect gold to go up, and by the end of this week is the bottom here, you're going to say, well, you got that wrong, right? Right now we're going sideways. That's what wave analysis is about. It's about understanding where you are at every point of time and in every time frame. So you can trade within here in the 15. You would wait for the 1 hour and the 4 hour up, and then you'll be looking for the down move again. We're still following this. It's going up some more. I don't think there's a big move up. We'll just wait and see. It didn't break this low. So as long as that low is not broken, even if it breaks that up, we'll be looking for a running flat, go back up, and then the big sell. Euro. Yep, those were sell setups. Very good ones. There was a number of sell setup. I think if you look at Euro, this one did. I think this one here was a sell setup too. We bought this close down for break even. So we're still in the correction. Euro is still there. The drops were good. I'll take them off. we're still looking for the big trade to the downside, but we'll watch this to see whether it consolidates here. Then we're dropping. Or if they go back up to the top, we may or may not get the buys in this one. We didn't take that buy, but this, since the top of this is much bigger, we'll buy it. And then we'll look for the sell again. So let's go back and see what it's doing at the bottom there. A lot depends on what happens here. If you consolidate here, good, we're gonna go down. It looks like they're trying to consolidate because this is the first move up. If this comes back deep enough here, we're gonna go back up there, make a nice flat, and then we'll be looking for sells. If they go up from here, the chances are they might go back all the way to the top. It could come deep and still go back up, right? Because if you remember this one, it had a pretty deep pullback, right? You got this, you got a deep pullback here, you got this, you got a deep pullback, and you got this, you got a deep pullback. So all of these were really deep pullback, and it still went up. So it could still make a pretty deep flat way down to the bottom and still go up. Well, you start buying from this point. We'll see what happens with this. I'm expecting the drop. If we get it, great, because the drop is a very good one. It means we're going to have a big move to the downside. If it goes back up, no problem. We could stay here for a long time. Pong. These are sell setups, and I still think we have a sell setup here. It's still a sell. We do have some divergence, so you'll be cautious, but it's still a sell setup. So if you're going to sell it, you have to be aware that this could be the final drop before it goes back up, but it's still a sell. So we sell until, you know, it's finished and it turned, and we'll see. Aussie. Aussie is a sell. If you're in the sell, you close and you re-enter. Close and re-enter the trade. We should have done that since, well, whoever is in the sell. The question now is whether this is going to break down to the bottom here or whether they're going to stop short somewhere and go back up. This one doesn't necessarily have to go back up. It could, right? It might just do this and start to go back up. We'll get rid of this trade. We know how to manage that, and then we'll be looking for the trade back to the top and then drop. I think if they drop through this low here, we're literally going to be going down. It will be more downside than upside. So it's a sell setup. Let's see. Today is Monday. Those trades are slow. So it's good when it's slow when you're trying to, you know, manage a trade, because the slower it is, the easier it is for you to manage. The more you have volatility, the tougher it is for you to make decisions, quick enter or exit, right? Sometimes if it goes your way with volatility, of course you're good. But if it's going against you, then you don't get to manage it very well. This is also consolidation for downside. I don't think it's completed, but we can put it, assuming it's a running flat, put the entry under the low and go for the trade. Now, be careful with this, is that just breaking this low might be all you get. It could go much lower. We don't know that. But once it breaks that low, I think we'll see divergence here. And yet, you'll have to be careful at that point. Just keep that in mind. In the 1 hour, yeah, you'll probably still have divergence. You already have, and you probably will still have internal divergence as well. So keep an eye on this one if you're going to take it. I think the Aussie is a better deal. Euro might be even a better deal, but we want to, don't risk all of them. Just take 1 or 2, probably split the risk in 2 of them and then see how that goes. Yen. Yeah, we'll be looking for a buy, but it looks like that might become the flat eventually rather than upside. It could still go. We haven't broken the low. So we'll be looking for the buy to go back up. Watch the top if it becomes a flat, right? If it becomes 1, 2, 3. This looks like a flat that might go 1 more down. I don't think that's a sell you want. Not close to the bottom, right? So we only sold this once. I don't think we want to sell it. We sold it here. I don't think you want to sell it in here. So look for the buy setup today. This is not the entry. Take that entry off. We'll look for a better entry if we get the buy. If it's going to come back 1 more there, break the low, then it's telling us it's a running flat, right? If this comes here, break the low, it'll probably go back up. We're definitely selling, right? We'll go for a running flat. As of this, we will buy. Whether we buy the running flat or not, it's open, but we will buy this because we don't know that it doesn't take off, right? If it just comes, break the top and go back down, I think that's enough for us to get out of the trade for profit too. CAD. Okay, so CAD, the risk was if you were going to buy this, and I think we spoke about that, is that it might just tag this top and turn, right? Because we're in a flat. Well, it did, and it turned. So what we'll be looking for here is if we get a sell setup, we'll take the trade. Right? There is a chance it could go down. There's a chance this could be the low and it goes back up as well, right? If you go with a very small flat like this, If you go with that and this is the low, well, it's possible. I'm going for more for the running flat. So what happens here would be important. Above the top, any consolidation here for upside is a buy. That's compelling buy because we'd assume that this is the low or this is the low, whichever is lowest, right? If it proves a running flat pattern, which means if it does that, then all we need is this to come down here and give us a flag for a sell. And both would be good trades. The buy will take longer because you're going to assume a bigger flat here. The sell could be faster because you're going to assume a flag, right? 1 second, guys. Just give me 1 second, please. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, let's go. So with both sides possible. I think the downside is more likely. I'm going for the downside because I believe we're going to break this low or come to this low before you go back up, right? That's because of the big picture. If you look at the 4 hour, that's what we're looking for, right? Come back to the bottom here and then go back up. Now, can this work its way up higher from here? It can, but I doubt that would possibly be. Even if they come, this is looking much more flat for the downside. Even if they go, we'll still get the trade, right? But keep an eye more for the sell setup. Swiss, this sell was a good one. You would close, you would re-enter, you would close, you put an entry here, take off both of them now. So take this off and take this off. Right, because this sell stayed there for about 6 hours or more. And now it's going up. So where are we in the big picture? Let's see. Still downside. I just don't think they, even if this goes back up to this level, it just becomes a bigger flat for downside. That's all. I don't think they'll go back up. It's possible we might end up with a bigger flat here or something and then go. We can actually still leave the sell setup here. I'll take, this is the low. We'll take that out. I'll still put the sell setup there because it's valid for now, right? If we're correcting this, that sell setup is valid. Right, the sell setup as it stands is valid. It will only change if they make a flag here. Then we'll pull this out and we'll be looking for a buy setup to retest the stop and then downside. Let's see which comes first. Right now it could drop from there, so you don't want to miss the trade. We don't have a sell setup from there, so we'll take it from under the low. We're still expecting them to retest this low before it goes, and this thing goes slow. You can look at all the pieces in it. It goes, look at this one, how much pullback you have. So the pullback here is not abnormal. It's pretty normal, and there's a good chance we need to break this low, and then we need to break these lows. Right? Let's see. Bang. Okay. Well, the sells are over. Take this off. That was a sell from since Monday last week, and there's a lot of them that we open, close, and now we're getting a very sharp move up. So if we get a flag here, we'll be buying. If this turns out to be a correction, it's a buy for the upside. Let's go into 1 hour and see what that looks like. Yep, it is becoming. We bought this one, but that you closed already, and now you're getting this possibility. That's a buy setup. You can actually, if you put an entry above the top, you have to put a stop here. But if you wait for a flag, a smaller flag for the buy, then you can use a tighter stop. I think you use this stop here. Use the bigger stop, increase the risk, and then manage the trade towards wherever it goes. From here, we'll see where that takes us. We're still in this big structure going down like this, right? That's the only exception, so I'll just put it like this, keep it there. We're still doing this up and down, so I wouldn't be surprised if they literally come back all the way to the top here and then drop again. Right, we'll eventually figure out what this whole piece is, whether it's a running flat, a big long running flat, or whether it's a channel for upside. Eventually we'll get it. Well, it's not there as yet, so we'll trade this back to the top. If they break out of that top, then it's more upside. Euros, it's coming back to the top, so if you want to buy, you have to be cautious, but it's most likely I'll be watching this range. Now there might be a chance where this is the flat, expanding flat, like a 1, 2, 3 is an expanding flat, and this literally go up higher. So if you're taking this trade, I'll be watching it at this level. If it slows down, if it stops, if it doesn't go very fast, you want to get it to break even. The bigger picture is downside. The reason I doubt that might take off to the top is because the bigger picture is downside, and this is pretty sharp. This is not, with big consolidation in it. And this move up is sharp, so I wouldn't be going for a running flat here. And even if you get a running flat there, then this whole picture is sideways, which means they don't have to go very high. They just have to break this one, which means you just have to do this and come back down. So it's more of a big correction and a small correction in the big one. So if you're taking that trade, you just have to be very, very cautious. If you have a better option to buy, which is the euro pound, why buy the euro once? Let it break the top and see if it turns. If it turns, you start to sell, right? So if I have to choose, well, I have to risk my money and put it somewhere for a buy, I'll be buying this rather than buying this. Now, that is what I would do, not what you have to do, because I might do that and the euro pound goes nowhere, but the pound house takes off like a rocket. Right, so that's just a choice of the what you're gonna. That's not mean that one is gonna go. Euro New Zealand, absolutely, I'll be buying this one. No questions asked. You put your entry order there now. Remember what I said. When it breaks the stop, you want the confirmation that it has to go up more, which is make a flag. Because if they don't, we'll be using this as a running flag for downside. Now we'll take this trade. It will break out, and then we'll start to manage it because we wanted the breakout and go, go, go. We don't want it to break out and stop because this could still be a running flat within a bigger running flat pattern, right? Let's hope this is the takeoff and the running flat is not the running flat. It's more of a contract, whatever. We'll relook at the whole structure and figure that out. It could be a more long drawn out running flat as well, right? Because this whole piece here is, there's a number of patterns there that you can put in. All of them are very possible. So we look at the ones that, if this goes, that's a trade you definitely want. Keep a bigger stop, not because you're going to allow it to go here. You never allow it to come to your stop loss. It's because you're going to, if they stay here longer, you don't want to be taken out to the bottom here and then watch it go. Right. So 15 minutes, let's see what it looks like. It looks complete, but there's a number of sharp waves inside of the 15 minutes that could repeat themselves here as well. So I don't want to go lower than that, but you can, if this is it, if this is all for the B, then great. This could be the low, right? So if they take off, you want to trade. If they take off, break up and decide to come back. If we can get out, we get out. If we can't, we'll manage it. Right. So I think it's a buy. Don't miss the buy. You're a cat. Okay, we were trying to buy this and we got a few break evens. Let's see if we can get a trade from it now. If it makes a flat here, not a flag, but more of a flat now, we're coming for the stop. Right, so let's see if we get that. Euro Swiss. It came down to the bottom. We didn't expect it to go that far, but it did. And I think if you were selling this one or this one or this one, you would have to be, manage it down. But those are from Friday coming down. We spoke about that. You're here now. So we've got one and we've got two. I think we're heading to the top back. Can it break the low? Yes, they can break the low. The question is, would you sell it at the low? Under the low, yes. At the low, I think we'd be careful because all they need to do is tag the low, break the low, and then go back up as a running flat. I don't think this is all the correction. So why trade this? Trade something else. Euro yen. This sell is good. It looks like we're getting another sell. Looks like we're getting another big flat here because this is going to come back. This has to come down. I think because this is sharp, we're likely going to go back up. Maybe just break this low, like 1, 2, 3, go back up, and then we'll get a sell set up. Then we'll get this sell. So if you're going to go for any sells on the euro pair, go on the euro yen rather than the euro Swiss. Pause. It broke out. You would have closed it and re-enter. So you would have closed the trade here and you would have put it above the top, which would be here. If you did, you're in the trade. Again, you still have to manage this one. Manage it to the top, because if it make this deep pullback, not a fact that they're going to break out, right? The hope is that they break out of this, right? But if they don't break out, you have to be careful that, well, we could still come to about this level and come back down here. It could still be in the corrective zone, right? So how much correction there? I don't know, but the trade is a good one, especially with the flag above here. It's a good trade. Manage it now. Now that you're in it, watch when they break this stop, how far we go. Pound Swiss. Yeah, this was a sell close. We can put a sell here again. And you'll have to watch this here also. I expect this to drop much more. So we're expecting it to come back and retest this low. So that's a good sell setup. So the question, why would pound Swiss go down and pound Aus go up? Well, because pound Aus is in an up move that is consolidating, which means pound Aus could get here and come back here. And then we get the drop on the pound Swiss. While this is going up, we get consolidation upward on the pound Swiss. If it's the pound movement, if it's Aussie and Swiss moving separate, then they'll go separate. But if it's the pound movement, this could go up some more and then drop, because pound Aus could come down back. So watch this. I still think we go for the sell. This is a good sell setup. For my traders, if you want to get more aggressive, we'll check it. But for now, that's the entry. Pound yen. Also, we can sell because we're below the lows and it's consolidating. If they consolidate below the lows, we go for the sell. So this was the first sell setup that you closed. I'd call it a break-even trade. It didn't go far, so we'll take that off. And now you're getting a better one here because this is consolidating. It's going to be a bigger consolidation. Probably go back up like this, and then we'll get the trade. So I don't think it will break out now. Can it take off from this point? Well, if it does, we're not buying the first one here. Let it go up, make flags, and then we'll start to buy back, right? Pound New Zealand. Just skip this. It's going up. See this piece here, it's going up within this move and it's going up deep. So they might still consolidate for a while. We would have to get this eventually, but then it's going to be upside, right? This might be more of a New Zealand one, not the pound. It could do this, it could come back here, and then we're expecting the upside. We'll probably go with this as the running flat, right? Can it actually stay here, go up and then drop and come back? That is possible too. I don't think we should trade this. Just leave this for, leave this alone for a while. Pound CAD. Well, now you can look for your sell setup. Right, so if you get it, you do have a flag, you do have an active trade right now in it. As there's an active trade, you don't have to take it at the spot, let it pull back some more and then put an entry under the low. Right, but it's an active trade for downside. Aussie yen. Okay, so take this off. We're at the low. It could be a running flat. Let's go with this. This could be a running flat for more downside, but the question is, do we want it? It did make a 1, 2, 3 break the top. They drop. We're at the lows. When they drop at these lows, they tend to pull back up. So I think we skip this trade, let it drop, break out of the structure, and then make correction so we can sell. Pretty much like the pound yen, right? We did the same thing. Break out of the structure first. Not, you can sell from there, but here is not a sell setup, right? So I would not risk this one because in this pattern, two things can happen. They can either go back up or they can still continue to go down like this. If you're going to change the structure of this, then what I want to see is I want to see this drop here, make a flag, and then we start selling. Confirming that we're not, staying in this structure like this. It's going to get out of the structure. Aussie CAD. This you can sell. They should have, well, no, you probably didn't have a better entry. That's the best entry you can get, actually. You have to use the stop above here, and if it becomes a bigger flat, I don't think it should be, but if it becomes, because they have a deep pullback here, if it becomes a bigger flat, you may want to keep a stop above here, maybe even this one, if this becomes a bigger flat of its own. We were hoping that this is the running flat and this one would drop. So if it drops, good trade. Let's see, it's manageable. You can manage that trade. Aussie Swiss, don't do anything here. It's coming down some more, but we're not looking for the sell. We're looking for the turning point whenever this is going to turn, right, to the upside. Aussie New Zealand. It broke the top. We closed it. We put an entry above the top. The entry was here. It tagged, stayed there for like 6 hours. We closed it, put it higher. It's coming down. It could be the start of the downside, but they don't really have to get to that top. If it wants to come, if the movement is going to be for the downside from here, that means we're going to repeat, we're going to retest this low. If they're going to come down from there, we'll retest this low in this pattern. Right, in this one. Let's see if we have anything there that says a sell setup. No, not as yet. You don't have any sell setup. It's still a buy setup as of now if they're going to go back up. Let it drop some more. If we get a flag, we'll start the sell. Let me put it in the 4 hours so you can see. Yep. If it drops some more, then we will start the sell. It has to come to about like this level, make a flag, and then we'll sell. Guardian. We haven't broken the top, so there's still a chance for more upside than downside. We don't have any sell setup. I think we just wait for a buy setup from here going up. All right, this could be a flat of its own here going up. So if we get a buy here today, that would be great. Put it in the 1 hour. But we don't. But if we get any buy setup in here, any flag in here, we could go for a buy. Can it drop some more? Yeah, probably let it drop. Trade something else. But to the upside, we can start trading this. Swiss yen. We're getting a buy setup here. It's not quite perfect. It's a little thing, but it's a buy setup. So we'll watch that to see how far that goes. It did break the low and we're going back up. Maybe we're coming back to this level, maybe a bigger consolidation there. It's not a big move to the downside as yet. We're expecting a big drop, but this doesn't look like it. So let's wait and see some more. But it's a buy setup whenever you get that. We can't put this with anything to make a running flat. I don't think we have anything for a running flat there. Unless we go like this. But this running flat, come back one more down here and then go back up. That's possible. A more complex pattern. It's possible that way. It's not a great sell setup. I'll probably avoid this selling it. So let's leave this here for now. And let's just put the low. Since we're going sideways, let's put the low here. If it's a sell, let it go without us. If it's a buy, we can take the trade. New Zealand yen. This was a good sell, straight to target, and now we are in this big pattern. So go back, watch the videos again, this drop. Now here's the question. Is it gonna break out or is it gonna go back up? Both of those possible right now. Breaking out is possible, going up is possible. Let's see what happens here now. If it's going to break out, we don't have a sell set up as yet. I don't see a clear sell. This looks like some kind of a pattern, but I can't. No, we don't have anything as yet. If it's going to go up, we can make an argument for a buy here, or we can wait some more. It does look like a very small. They have about 3 small flags here, which looks more like this upwards. So if you want to sell it, put a sell under the low. If it drops through, good trade. Right? If they drop straight through the bottom, if they're breaking out of the entire structure, that's a good trade. New Zealand Swiss. Yep, you have a sell here in the New Zealand Swiss. Let's go with the New Zealand CAD. You could make an argument for a sell here, not the best one, but you can make an argument. We're already breaking the lows. We broke all the lows already. So there is a sell setup, not the best one. Be careful. It's consolidating more here. So it might be more complex than that, which means it's going to probably go here, come back, and then drop. CAD Swiss. 1 sell, 2 sell, broke the low, take it off, right? We might be heading back to the top now, right? So we've got a flat. All you need to do is break the low and turn. So what we want to see is it breaks the low, make a flag here, and we'll be looking for buys to the top. Let's go. We sold this, but we closed the trade because it really went slow. The first sell, I think we took somewhere here, somewhere in there coming down, and this went slow and it went slow. So just a series of break-even trades. But if you remember after the third one, if you kept it, you're good. If you really wanted to, but I would probably not keep it. So now we're at the bottom here. Great. If you make any, you want more of a consolidation here, more something like this before you sell. Right, let it make a bigger consolidation and the sell is good because we're about to break the low and that's the minimum before they turn. In the bigger structure, they just need to break the low and turn. Right? I mean, literally, if you're looking at this bigger thing here, all they can do is break this low and go right back up. We'll still be in this. So the risk, the trade, the lower it comes here now, the riskier the trade becomes. And I'm pretty sure we have divergence. Yes, we do. Right, no questions asked there. You have that. So in the 1 hour, if you're going to take the trade, make sure you get a very good flag before you do that. Let's go, guys. We are about an hour or so into this. I think we'll make it into 2 parts because it's gonna be too long. So I'll stop the recording here, and the second part will be out later for the rest of the YouTube traders, right? So stop recording.